to episode 10, I think, of Create Astral. So, as the sun is setting, you find me out here, far, far, far from the base, which is back over here. Mostly just to collect clay, because the brick machine that we already have, turns out it's not super efficient and it takes forever. Whereas I can be so much more efficient by taking a shovel and digging for clay around here. Either way, it's been a little while since I recorded. I've done a lot of stuff off screen, mostly making bricks, but also doing some farming stuff, some other building stuff, and just some exploring around. So if you look at the map, for example, I've traveled quite a ways, seen quite a few more villages and train stops and stuff. But I also saw a few more interesting buildings, especially over in this area here. So I did screen record some of it. I didn't actually comment over it, but just so you can see what it was, here is those things. So the first thing I found was this building over here. Looking from this side, I could not figure out what it is. It kind of looked like some sort of like large-scale version of some sort of create block. But I really could not figure it out. I tried looking from the sides, still couldn't figure it out. And I figured that the only way to actually properly figure this out would just be to go inside of the thing and see what was in there. So looking at the thing, there's clearly supposed to be like a shaft on that one side, and it goes into the back of whatever this thing is, along with some interesting pieces. And inside, there's actually a lot of useful create stuff. I didn't end up taking any of it because I like leaving these things as is if I can. Although, honestly, some of the cogs and stuff would be good. And the stuff inside wasn't particularly interesting. There's some andesite compound, which is always helpful. But yeah, and then I figured there must be something on top of there. So you'll see here, I kind of had to solve a jumping puzzle. I thought maybe you could come up from this side, but that didn't really work. And to be fair, you could just nerd pull up there, but that wasn't quite as exciting. So I tried from this side, and you can kind of hop on these gears. I don't know if this is the intended way of doing this. It took me a few tries to get that jump, especially. But eventually I got up there. So up at the top there was, of course, another chest. And inside there's some veridium, which is super cool. That's kind of a pain in the butt to make. Eventually, I think we need to make it for a quest. And I think we use it to automate tin or copper, one of the two. But then there's some vines up to the top. And on top there is another chest, which had our tomato, which is one of the things that we didn't have yet. So that was actually super exciting. As well as just some other wild stuff. Top is really pretty. It gives a nice, like, overgrown feel to it. And then I looked down at this side, and that's when I realized that this is supposed to be a giant drill. So, kind of a cool thing. But that was the first interesting structure that we found. The next structure that I found was like some sort of gas station, which is kind of cool. Very overgrown, very ruined. And there's just a lot of cool like decoration blocks in here. There wasn't a whole lot of loot. There was a carpenter's workbench, which was kind of cool. I think I may have taken that. There are a lot of trapdoors, a lot of other stuff. And there's also a toolbox, which is cool. You can tell it's the middle of the night because there's some creatures making some scary sounds outside. But I did take the toolbox, which is kind of nice. As you can see, my inventory is already full of stuff here. And then there's this like cool like skeleton thing next to that jukebox, which I was able to take with me. They're actually really easy to make up, it seems. But I've hidden that somewhere in the factory area. But yeah, so we found that in there as well. And the one loot chest that was here is right there. You can see it. So yeah, I continued to take a few things from this one because some of those were actually cool, like this toaster. Yeah. The final structure that I found, I'm not entirely sure what it was supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be like a mill or something. I'm not really sure. But it was just a lot of bricks. There's some cool like things you can do with logs, it turns out. But yeah, I have no idea what this was supposed to be. Really, I should have taken this one apart and kept the pieces, because this one's not super interesting outside of just having some cool decorative stuff in it. Yeah. And that then leads us back to where we currently are. So the plan for this episode is, like I said, we're going to make the brick factory more efficient. But there is one last structure that I wanted to look at on camera, because I don't know what that is. This thing here kind of looks like a windmill, so I'm guessing it's another create thing. We got to walk a little ways to get there, but I'm excited to see what exactly that is. So we'll head off this way, and then we'll have a look. Oh, sure enough, it is a windmill, although it's not a create windmill. Let's have a closer look. So it looks like it's another village of some sort, based on the fact that there are some villagers milling about. I like the scarecrow there. They got some cows. These guys seem to be hard at work doing stuff. Yeah, I like the structures here. This is cool. This looks like it's a barn of some sort. There's some more loot with honestly nothing inside that we don't already have. We don't really need to take any of these things. What happens if we go upstairs? There's a child. There's some more stuff that we don't really need. Clock's kind of cool, but I don't think we'll take the clock. There's the big windmill. Are there any other buildings here before we continue on? There's like an outside blacksmith's with just a lot of bread and nothing interesting. Ooh, the iron we'll take. The obsidian we'll take. And we might as well take this iron pickaxe. That might be useful at some point. Weaponsmith. Nothing really that we can get from him. There's like a nice stables here. This leads over to another little farm where the guys are hard at work. And I guess that just leaves us with this windmill that we need to explore. So let's have a look in here. See if there's anything worthwhile. Nothing in there. I like how there's supposed to be like redstone to make it look like they're doing something. Oh, there's some cobbled. There's some copper. That's the word I'm looking for. Stuff in here, but it doesn't look to me like there's anything higher up. So, not the most interesting place, but very cool otherwise. There's a guy way out here just doing whatever. Cool. So in that case, we'll head back to the factory, and we'll get on with what we're actually doing today. So there was one last thing I wanted to check out over here. We're over by the rich village, the very fancy one that we explored a couple episodes ago. And I found this thing. I'm guessing it's supposed to be an asteroid, but I do want to dig into it and see if there's anything hiding inside. If nothing else, we're getting some moon cobblestone, which is exciting. As well as some more iron. I suspect that there's not going to be anything particularly interesting in here, though. I think it's just for a bit of flavor. Yeah, I don't think so. Kind of cool, though. So, we're back at the factory. As you can see, made a little bit of progress on making it look nice. Most of this came from having to dig clay by hand, but we have a finished interior. We have a staircase that leads all the way around, and it goes up to the top. You'll see that there's nothing on top right now, but it's getting there. And then we have this extra space over here, which I've started. Still need to work on some of the walls here. Eventually we'll put windows in, and then there'll be a roof here as well. We also now have a lava farm, which is great. It's very basic. It's not really doing anything. It's not leading into a tank, although that is something I want to do. Like here, put another like tank to just collect lava. And you also notice I took out a whole bunch of machines from here. And instead there's this mysterious spot here that is slowly turning and sounds like water. That's because there's about 5 water wheels underneath there to hopefully give us all the power that we need. There's also a cow in a jar. So before we get started on building anything, we do have a couple quests that we can claim. This one gives us straw. Oh boy. I think that's it from there. In the andesite world, we have enough sand, so we can get all of these things. I don't think I want to collect them, if I'm being real, because with the exception of the ender pearl, which is kind of nice, don't really need any of them. And then in getting industrial, we completed the clay one because we dug up so much clay. And this one is actually pretty good. We get some XP. We get 8 stacks of bricks, which is great. We get an item vault, and we get 4 stacks of glass. All of that is great for building the factory itself, but we're just going to put them away for now. That's so many bricks. Like so. Now, the next thing that we want to do is, eventually we're going to make these fluid pipes, and for that we're going to need a mechanical pump, which isn't actually too hard to make. It's just a fluid pipe and cogwheel, so why don't we just go ahead and do that, since I have all of those things already. And now we have a mechanical pump. So let's accept that quest. We get a bunch of copper, and that opens up a bunch of other things, such as lava generation, which arguably I should have since I already did that, but that's okay. Now, what we want to make our way towards is this efficient alloy production. We can make compound mixture, which we'll need to smelt some stuff. We can get this with a spout to actually complete the quest. But what this is going to allow us to do is combine andesite, iron, and clay to create this compound mixture. It's not the most efficient way of doing this, but if we can automate these 3 things, or nearly automate them, then it should be easier to deal with at the very least. So to start with, we're going to need to figure out where our andesite is going to be made. I think it makes most sense to be like right in the center. So for our clay, which is the first thing we're going to build, we're going to have it deposit here. I actually might move that so that it's on a little platform like so. And then what we need to do to make the clay is we will need to grind dripstone. Now, to make dripstone, we need to wash calcite. And to make calcite, we need to compact some milk and some gravel. So the first thing we actually need to do is build another gravel machine. So we're going to whip that up real quick, and that's probably going to go somewhere over here. So we finished our gravel machine. It's all ready for the next step. It's even taking the gravel and bringing it over to this basin. However, we can't do anything with the basin yet because I need to make a couple more funnels and some more shafts and some other stuff as well. But it otherwise works. We managed to shove it all into this pretty small space. This thing should be grinding a little bit faster than the drill should be working, so hopefully it doesn't end up with that same problem as the other clay farm that we have. Yeah, I think this is a good start. So now we have it compressing. I actually kind of don't want it to compress anything yet, because I don't want compressed gravel in here. That's not what we were trying to get. Good, this is empty. Instead, what we next need to do is we need to take our cow in a jar, and we're going to need to pump in milk. So that means we're going to need this mechanical pump. We're also going to need a couple more fluid pipes. And, of course, most importantly, we need our cow in a jar. So I think the cow can just go like... What is the smallest distance I would need? Probably like that. I think this needs... You know, maybe we even dig down one. In like that. And... just to make it look a little bit nicer, put that there. Nope, not quite like that. This is the problem when your inventory is basically full. Because I kind of need all these things. I guess I don't need the quest book right now. Let's put that there. Let's put that there. This goes back here. This goes there. So we're going to take our mechanical pump. We're going to stick it there. And then we attach it to the basin. I think that's about all we need to do, other than like connect it up now. Now to connect it, we're going to put a cogwheel here. And how are we going to power this cogwheel from here? That is a question that I don't know. So I got this powered, but I wonder if I need another one here. Which shouldn't actually be too hard. Let's attach this to here. Gotta turn that so it's facing the other direction. And then we do still, unfortunately, need to figure out how to power this then. I'm also out of cogs, I think, so I'll need to make some more of those. Alright, so it took a little bit of time, but I finally got this working. It is now making calcite, and you'll notice that there's this big pipe over here. I managed to get rid of all the stuff over here, and it leads outside over to here. And this is kind of ugly. I think I'll build some sort of like structure off to the side here to house this in. But it does mean that we now have milk. This thing is spinning incredibly quickly so that we can actually do this. However, I could not figure out a way to connect the cow and jar to anything. So this is what we're going to stick with. I'm sure that'll be fine. As for actually powering this thing, we have this clutch here, which when we turn it on, it's going to start moving materials this direction into here. You can see the milk is getting pumped in there, and once it has enough in there, it will crunch down and make some calcite. Now, it's not fully automated because I cannot figure out a way to, like I said, permanently fill this up. But right now, it's got 38-ish buckets in it. If we need to add some more, we right-click the cow and jar. We just dump it in here, and if you look at how quickly that drains out, it works pretty well. So, yeah. So that's basically good to go. The next thing to do is going to be to wash the calcite. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to need some shafts, and I'm going to need some belts for now. What we're going to do is we're going to connect this like so, and then somewhere over here we are going to need our washing setup. So I think it should only need 3 fans to wash. So we can connect that like so. And then we'll need to set up the fans. I do think I'm going to have to move this thing, unfortunately. But that's fine. We can just move it out of the way for now. So our fans are going to go right here. We're going to need our water here. And then we need some iron bars, which I do have some ready. To go 1, 2, 3. We should also probably put some sort of trapdoors on the side here so that stuff doesn't leak out. Can I make zinc trapdoors for now? Yes, I can. So let's make 2 of these. And then these just go on the sides here. Like so. I also think it's interesting. The basin actually can export stuff. I didn't think that was a thing that it could do. I had a whole thing over here ready to go with making some brass funnels, which I didn't even realize we could do yet. But turns out, yes, you can do them already. But apparently we're not going to need that yet, because it's capable of doing it itself, which is fantastic. What we do need is we need some water, though. So let's get that ready to go. Have a little water source over here. We need 3 buckets of water. And those are going to go in here. So that's all set up. And then we need to power these things. Can we just run some shafts this direction, like so? And then can I attach those with a belt? Because if so, that would be grand. It looks like it. I don't think... actually, it might matter which direction they're blowing. Let's turn this back on, and let's check what it's doing. Okay, so it's blowing the right way. Then that's fine. And we should see nothing happening here because it's not getting blown enough. But that's okay. Oh, I also failed to mention that while I was building that big cow machine, I had to make this thing to build a copper casing. Either way, let's turn this back off. And let's get the rest of this powered. Okay, so I think everything should be good to go. This thing is still making milk. We still have a whole lot of it. So it comes out here. It should hopefully get washed properly. It goes into the mill. And the only thing we now need to do, I think, will probably be to power that belt. Let's turn it on just to double check. Yep, that's working. The mill is grinding up dripstone. Let's just check to make sure it gets this dripstone. Good. So the last thing then to do would be to connect this here. That's turning the wrong way, but I think if we stick another one on there... Yep, that looks like it's turning the right way. And we just stick a final shaft there, and there we go. Clay is coming out and going into our drawer. Excellent. So, that's part 1 of getting automated andesite alloy. I actually might make another one of these over in the brick factory over there, just because this is going to be a whole lot more efficient than what I currently have going. It's not quite as automated because I do have to go and fill up the milk tank every once in a while, not to be confused with Pokemon, but that should be fine. The next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make a let's just move this. We're going to need to make a washer for the gravel so that turns into flint and iron. And I think I have a good idea of how to do that. All I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use this same setup and hopefully power the fans, but in reverse. In fact, let's just test to see if that even works the way I think it should do. So I put this here. It's turning the wrong way, though. So that's not going to quite work like I'd hoped. What if I put a gearbox here and a fan this way? That might just do it. Cool. So I'm probably going to get this set up off screen, just because I think it's going to be a lot of fiddly bits to actually get this working the way I think it should do. But I will be back in a sec, and we'll see if this entire machine is complete. Alright, so this thing has continued to be running. I've had to refill it a couple times, but I've also repurposed this gravel machine. I kind of wanted to take gravel from there and use it, but I could not get that to work. And as you can see, this is already partially running. It's taking gravel out of our very big supply of gravel that we have here. It washes it, and when it washes it, it turns, of course, into iron and flint. The next parts are going to be to distribute those two things. The iron nuggets can actually just go straight down here and into this drawer. But the other one is going to need to be andesite. And hopefully what I've done here, actually I want that one back, is set up a system to do that. So the flint is going to come out of here. It's going to get crushed up into andesite dust, which is then going to get compacted and hopefully make andesite. Now, the only way I could figure out how to do this in a way that would work was to still use those brass funnels. So we're going to need to make 2 of those. I might actually make more than that if we have the stuff to make more than that. 2, 3, 4. Sure, let's make 5 of them. Why not? And then we take our brass funnels. And I should probably also have a flint and an iron nugget ready to go. Because on this one we are going to put our iron nuggets, which looks good. Let's just pick up this one because that doesn't need to be there. And on this side, that's going to be our flint. So our nuggets are going into there. The flint does seem to be going into here. And although it's crushing up very slowly, it is making andesite dust. Now hopefully what we should see is when we get 4 of those, this thing should go down, smush them, and then we'll get some andesite out of it, hopefully. If I've done this correctly. And down it goes. Good. And it spits out an andesite. And now, that is making these things. So, we should, with these 3 things combined, be able to make an infinite amount of andesite alloy, with the exception of the fact that we have to refill this, the milk machine every once in a while. I'm pretty sure there is a way to automate that as well, but I don't think we have the technology to do so yet. So we're not going to do it yet, and that is okay. So in making this entire thing, I did end up completing a lot of quests, so I figured as the last part of our episode, we can just go through and claim the stuff that I haven't claimed yet. So, for example, there's a sand thing. We can might as well get those things. We also used at least one of these clutches. We get some levers and some more clutches, which is great. I think that's it in the andesite world. And then in getting industrial, we did some fluid storage, so we can do that. We also made some tunnels, and we get some more funnels for that. We got that already. And we're almost there with that. I feel there's one more thing that I got that had a really, like, wacky thing in it. I don't know what that was, though. Definitely wasn't that. I don't think it would be anything in here. Oh, it was this. I found out that there's, like, a whole bunch of stuff that we get from this loot crate. I think it's percentage-based. We're going to take that, and we got a copper casing. I guess I didn't need to build that entire thing over there to build a copper casing. Oh, but we got 8 of them, actually. That's pretty good. Alright. Well, either way, I hope you enjoyed. These machines are always the fun part of this mod. So yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Liking always makes me happy when you do so, so don't forget to do so. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, and bye.